What's up guys, I'm Coach Allen.
I'm Coach Andrew.
And we are the golf fitness coaches here at ProFormance. Our main goal is to help you identify the physical limitations that might be preventing you from performing the best you possibly can on the golf course. And it all starts with a physical screening that we do with each and every one of our golfers. And today we're going to show you exactly what that is. The first movement we do with our golfers is we just see can they set up in a normal 5-iron posture. So what Andrew's going to do is he's going to demonstrate his normal 5-iron posture with his arms crossed over his chest. And what we're looking for here is, does he create excessive arch in his low back? So go ahead and do that, show what that looks like, arch. Yeah. Is there an excessive arch there? Or the flip side, is there excessive rounding? We don't want either of those because that's going to limit your ability to go in your backswing and accomplish a really good downswing. So what we want is we want to create a nice neutral spine. That's the first thing we're looking for, is can the golfer complete that position successfully.
Once we identify that their setup posture is good, we want to identify if they can perform what's called a pelvic tilt. So I'm going to have Alan get back in his golf stance. So now we want to see if he can create that arch and then go back into that roundness, just back and forth in a motion, just like that. If you're not able to complete this movement right here, then you're not going to be able to swing your club as powerfully as you should be able to. Now we're going to assess his ability to disassociate his lower body from his upper body. He's going to rotate his hips side to side. Good. This is important because if you're not able to perform this motion, then your sequence will be off in your golf swing. Now we're going to assess the opposite. We're going to assess if he can disassociate his upper body from his lower body. And he's going to try to rotate his torso while keeping his hips neutral. And then again, just like the hips, this is important because if you're not able to do this, then your sequence is going to be off, leading to problems in your golf swing.
Our next test is actually one of the most crucial components to this assessment because it'll tell us the most about our golfer and his mobility and stability. It's called the overhead deep squat test. So what I'm going to have Andrew do is he's going to set up with his toes straight forward. His feet are going to be about shoulder width apart. He's going to take that dowel rod, place it on top of his head. Elbows are going to be making a 90-degree angle. I'm going to ask him to extend that dowel rod overhead and squat down as low as he can while keeping that dowel rod over his head. Now he's going to stand back up, and I'm going to have him face the other way so he can see the different angle. Go ahead and do that same thing again. Stand overhead, nice deep squat. So if you notice, his torso has a lot of lean forward. We actually want him to be able to keep his chest up tall. You see how he lost balance there? That's an indication that he's lacking mobility throughout that motion. And if you lack mobility throughout that motion, you're going to end up in an early extension in your swing, and you're not going to hit the ball where you want to hit it. So we want to address that first and foremost for any golfer that might display that same type of issue. Now we're going to take it into the upper body, and we're going to see what Andrew's external rotation of his shoulder is looking like. This will help us see if he can effectively accomplish a good backswing, because a good backswing involves a lot of shoulder external rotation to get that club behind your back when you're setting up in that golf swing. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Andrew face the mirrors here. He's going to raise his elbow up to shoulder height, making a 90-degree angle. And I'm going to see, can he bring his forearm back to match his spine angle, or can he get it further back behind his spine angle? Go ahead and raise that back. Good. So standing tall, Andrew can accomplish a greater than spine angle with his shoulder external rotation. That's excellent. That's exactly what we want. But can he do that same level of external rotation while he's in a golf stance? So go ahead and do your golf stance and go into that external rotation. Good. So not as good of external rotation in his golf stance, but he's still getting to about his spine angle with his forearm. If you see his forearm, it's matching about where his spine is. We really want it to get behind his spine, and that'll help deepen his backswing so he can generate more force throughout his downswing. Now we're going to look at how well Andrew can rotate around each hip. In the golf swing, you're going to be called to rotate around the right hip in the backswing. If you're a right-handed golfer, downswing. So what I'm gonna have Andrew do, go ahead and step back. I want you to lead with your left foot, and your right toes are gonna be in line with your back heel. Go ahead and put your hands on your hips. Can he rotate towards me around that left hip? Go ahead and rotate towards me. Good. Excellent rotation there. Now we're gonna see, can he go the other way? Good. So looking at that, Andrew's gonna have no issue going into his backswing and his downswing on his left hip. Now let's check the right hip. Andrew's gonna lead with his right foot, left foot is back. Same thing, go to your right, rotate around that hip. Excellent rotation. Now come through to the left. Good. Excellent rotations on each hip. That means his hip internal, external rotation is not going to be a factor to limiting his abilities in his golf swing. Next, we're going to go up the kinetic chain to Andrew's neck. We're going to see how well he can rotate his neck. This is important because in the golf swing, you got to be able to keep your head down as your upper body is rotating to the right, and keep that head down as you're exerting force throughout that downswing. Are you able to keep that head down? We're gonna have Andrew rotate his neck to the right side of his body, and he's gonna tuck his chin down, trying to touch his chin to his collarbone. Good, go ahead and come back up. Did that very well. Now to the left, same thing, chin to collarbone. Good, no limitations there, so that tells me Andrew's gonna have no issue keeping his head down throughout the golf swing.
All right, now we're gonna assess the glutes. So the glutes are important because they're the main power source when it comes to your golf swing. So what I'm gonna have Alan do is called a bridge with leg extension. So what I'm gonna have him do, go ahead and elevate your hips, go into a glute bridge. Once he feels comfortable, I'm gonna ask him to straighten his right leg out, keeping it even with his left leg. And then here we're gonna hold for 10 seconds. And I'm gonna make sure his pelvis stays nice and neutral and there's no cramping. Once they finish the test, I'm gonna ask them where they felt that. If they felt their glutes, this muscle right here, that's what we want. A lot of times people tend to feel their hamstrings or their quads. That lets me know that they're having trouble activating their glutes. So we need to work on that in order for them to hit the ball as powerful as they can.
And that wraps up what we typically do with our golfers assessment-wise when they first come in. Again, it helps us see what their strengths and limitations are in different areas of their body, mobility-wise, stability-wise, and strength-wise. And it helps us come up with a plan, a program that's gonna help them tackle those weak areas and help them perform better on the golf course. So if you all wanna go through this assessment, go ahead and schedule your complimentary consultation with us, and we'll make sure that you're performing like a pro on the golf course.